What if the biggest mistake of your life is waiting to feel ready? What you don't work on today becomes tomorrow's frustration. No one's going to show up to give you permission, motivation, or a push. That's on you. You are the architect of your destiny, and every day you postpone things, you're choosing to give up. Because only those who face themselves without excuses discover who they can truly become. This video isn't a pat on the back or just another motivational speech. It's a mirror showing you everything you could be if you stopped getting in your own way. Here, you'll uncover 12 Stoic lessons that aren't meant to cheer you up, but to wake you up. Because the life you dream of doesn't happen by chance. It happens when you make tough decisions, when you choose to move forward even when you don't feel like it, when you make inner work a priority. If you're tired of living halfway, if something inside you is screaming that you can't go on like this, these teachings might just be the beginning of your transformation, but only if you dare to put them into practice. Before we begin, let me tell you the story of someone who completely lost himself. His name is Andres, and his life changed the day he looked in the mirror, didn't recognize himself, and decided he couldn't keep being a spectator to his own destruction. Andres was 35 years old, but he looked 50. Deep bags under his eyes, slouched back, a grayish skin tone like his soul had dimmed. He lived alone in an apartment that smelled like dampness and silence. No partner, no close friends, just a TV playing in the background, a sagging couch, and a routine made up of instant coffee, cigarettes, and thoughts that ate him alive from the inside. He had given up on everything. His body, his mind, his dreams. He had stopped trying, stopped fighting, even stopped hoping. He woke up late, ate whatever was around, and spent hours watching random videos just to avoid thinking. It wasn't laziness, it was resignation. He had lost faith in himself, and no one had noticed. The day everything changed was so simple no one else would have seen it coming. He bent down to tie his shoelaces and couldn't. He ran out of breath, had no strength. He sat up slowly, sweating, and sat on the edge of the bed. That's when he caught a glimpse of himself in the wardrobe mirror. He really looked, and something inside him screamed. It wasn't anger, it was pain. The pain of having abandoned the one person he should have never let go of, himself. That same day, without knowing why, he searched YouTube for "How to Change My Life." And among all the empty motivational videos, he found a gray-haired man in an interview speaking in a calm voice. He said, "Don't complain about the results you don't have for the work you don't do. You are the one project you can't give up on." It was a clip from a talk about Stoicism. Andres didn't even know what that was, but he wrote the quote down. Something in his mind lit up. That's where it started. Not with enthusiasm, not with motivation, but with exhaustion, with frustration, with pain. But he started. Day 1. He showered, got dressed, and went for a 10-minute walk. Day 2. He did it again. Day 3. He stopped eating ultra-processed food and bought some fruit. Day 4. He started keeping a journal where, at least once a day, he called himself champion, even if he didn't feel like one. Day 5. He read the first page of Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. That night he wrote, "Today, for the first time, I felt a little bit alive." Weeks passed. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks, tears, silent days, but he didn't stop, because he realized no one was coming to save him. Real change doesn't come from nice quotes, but from uncomfortable decisions, repeated daily. Today, Andres isn't a guru or a coach or a perfect example, but he's rebuilt himself. He has clarity, energy, and a kind of peace he had never known before. Not because everything's fixed, but because he no longer abandons himself. Because he learned that working on yourself isn't optional. It's an act of survival. Now that you know his story, let me ask you something. How long have you been letting your broken version make your decisions for you? How much longer are you going to wait? If you're tired of putting yourself off, stay with me. This video won't do the work for you, but it will give you the tools to start rebuilding yourself. Day by day, step by step, just like Andres did. Before we continue, If this content is bringing you value, consider subscribing and becoming a member to access exclusive benefits. And tell us in the comments, what part of yourself are you going to recover with daily effort, no excuses, and in silence? Or simply write, I am a Stoic. Today I begin building my best self, step by step, without giving up. 1. Life is not a game. Tell me something. How many times have you let opportunities slip by just because you thought there'd be another? How many times have you said, I'll do it later, as if life was going to wait around for you forever? My friend, I know it sounds harsh, but it's time to open your eyes. Life is not a game. Some people live as if they had infinite lives, like life is some video game with unlimited tries, where every mistake can be undone and there's always a second chance waiting in the menu. You fall, beep, 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 you start over. You make a bad decision, game over. You reset, you keep going without thinking, as if it didn't matter how many times you failed. But listen, this doesn't work like that. There's no save game button here, no continue later. You can't pause it and you can't rewind. Every day you let slip is a lost level. Every decision you delay is one less point in your real-life score. And by the time you realize it, black screen. Game over. Let me tell you something. When I was younger, I knew someone who always said there was time. That someday he'd start working out, leave the job he hated, fix things with his father, finally write that book he'd dreamed of since he was a teenager. He was brilliant, talented, but he treated life like a chess game he could pause whenever he wanted. One day, his mom suddenly got sick, and in the middle of the chaos, he said something I'll never forget. I thought I had time for everything, but life didn't tell me I was already in extra time. That's when he realized life doesn't wait for anyone, and if you don't force yourself to work on you today, when you finally want to, you might not have the energy, the health, or even the chance. Listen to what Epictetus said centuries ago. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And you know what? That's the difference between someone who takes life seriously and someone who keeps letting it pass them by. No, of course we can't control everything that happens, but we can decide how we respond, and that even if it doesn't seem like much, changes everything. There's a concept in psychology you should know. It's called internal locus of control. People who have it believe their future depends on them, not on luck or others or chance. And guess what? They're happier, more successful, and more committed to their growth. Because they don't wait for things to change. They go out and change them. So, are you ready to take the reins? I want to give you 3 keys to stop playing with your life and start treating it with the seriousness it deserves. First, pause every night and ask yourself, did I act today like someone who's in control of their life, or did I let everything drag me along? You can write it down if you want, but what matters is that you're honest with yourself. That daily reflection will show you more than any book. Second, stop chasing goals that don't move you. Set specific, realistic objectives that depend on your effort. Don't say, I want to get in shape. Say, I'm going to walk for half an hour every morning before I touch my phone. And do it. That's where transformation begins. Third, train your self-discipline in small things. Wash the dishes right after eating. Make your bed. Finish that email you've been avoiding for days. Not because they're heroic tasks, but because each one reminds you that yes, you can count on yourself. And that, my friend, is real power. It's time to wake up. Because if you don't force yourself to work on you every single day, you're not going to change anything. This isn't about waiting to feel like it. It's about having clarity and acting again and again, even when it's hard, even when no one's clapping, even when you're alone. So tell me, if life isn't a game, are you playing or are you really living? 2. Do you know why you're here? Ah, yes, purpose. You've probably heard that word so many times by now that you don't even know what to think of it anymore. Some people throw it around like it's some kind of magic spell. Say it 3 times and boom, an epiphany drops from the sky with fireworks. But let me ask you something. Have you really stopped to think about why it's so important? Have you heard of the Okinawan community in Japan? There, many people live well past 100 and still smile like life is just getting started. What's their secret? They're clear about their ikigai, their reason to get out of bed in the morning. It might be tending a garden, teaching the younger generation, or keeping a family tradition alive. What matters is they live with intention. They're not just surviving, they're living. And they do it knowing exactly what they're here for. No, of course it's not easy to find your purpose. There's no map for it, and no one's going to hand it to you in a neatly wrapped box. But if you don't search for it, if you don't pursue it intentionally, you'll spend your life building someone else's dream while yours rots in a corner. And believe me, no one deserves that. There was a time in my life when I felt exactly like that, like I was moving forward just because, until I found something that helped a lot. Ryan Holiday's Stoic meditations. They're not magical, but they're powerful. They make you face yourself, your excuses, the things you've been ignoring. And little by little, you start to see more clearly what drives you and what you're just dragging along out of habit. Now imagine this. You wake up, go to work, do what you're supposed to do, come home, eat dinner, scroll your phone, go to sleep, and repeat. But inside you feel disconnected. No spark. Like someone else is holding the remote to your life, and you're just following the script without ever questioning it. My friend, do you really believe you came into this world just to do what you're told? Is that what we call living? It's time to open your eyes. You need to reconnect with that fire inside you. And you're probably wondering, okay, but how do I do that? Well, it's not as hard as it seems. Start by identifying your core values. Ask yourself what things make you feel proud of who you are when you do them. Helping others, creating something, learning something new, doing something just for you. That feeling of meaning, that's not random. It's a clue. Then make time for activities that actually make you feel like you're growing, that give you energy. Maybe it's writing that book, learning to play an instrument, or simply going for a walk every day with a good podcast. Sometimes it's not your life that needs to change. It's how you live your day. Turn off your phone while you eat breakfast. Say no to what drains you. Use your free hour to grow, not just distract yourself. And be mindful of the people around you. Because if you're constantly surrounded by people who are dimmed, who only complain, who aren't excited about anything, then, yeah, it's normal if you start to feel the same. Surround yourself with those who remind you of your worth, who inspire you to reach for more. Purpose isn't just something you find inside. It shows up in how you relate to the world, too. Remember this, purpose isn't some mystical thing. Marcus Aurelius said that each person must do what they were made for by nature. And when you live from that place, everything starts to make sense. And it all starts with working on yourself every day, acting from who you are, not from what others expect of you. Happiness, in the end, isn't found in some distant goal. It's in living each minute with intention, with integrity, with gratitude. Like Dennis Waitley said, happiness is the experience of living every minute with love, grace, and gratitude. But don't fool yourself. This doesn't just happen. You have to work at it. You have to choose it every day. You have to force yourself to grow, even when it's hard. Now I want to hear from you. Have you found your purpose, or are you still searching without knowing where to begin? What are you going to do today to get a little closer to what truly moves you? Share it in the comments, and let's inspire each other to keep building from within. 3. Your biggest rival is yourself. They say there's a creature that shows up at the most important moments of your life. It doesn't live in the shadows, or the dark or far-off places. It lives in your mind. It disguises itself as logic, as caution, as maybe don't try this. And the wildest part is, it doesn't come from outside, it's you. Yes, my friend, you are the monster that so often makes excuses, that quietly sabotages your progress, that stays silent when you should speak up, that hides when you should step forward. And the worst part? Sometimes you don't even notice it. You just feel an invisible wall and you can't figure out where it's coming from. But if you dare to look closely, it's in your thoughts. In that voice that tells you you're not enough, that you don't have what it takes, that it's better not to risk it, just in case you fail. Seneca said it clearly. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Because most of the time, it's not life that's beating you up. It's your mind anticipating blows that haven't even happened. And do you know what he did to stop being his own worst enemy? He mentally prepared himself every day. He imagined obstacles before they came, not to live in fear, but so that fear couldn't catch him off guard. That's how he stayed one step ahead. That's how he stopped hurting himself. There's a YouTuber I love because she shows this in a very real way. No Heavy Theory, Rashalia. In one of her videos, she shared how for years she avoided filming content because she felt like she wasn't good enough. And when she finally dared to do it, she did it full of doubt, terrified of being judged. And what happened? Nothing terrible, on the contrary. She realized that what had been stopping her wasn't the camera, or the algorithm, or the audience. It was herself. And she overcame it by working on her confidence every single day, filming even when her voice shook, posting even when she felt insecure. Because if you don't dare to do it badly, you'll never do it well. Now let me ask you, have you ever tried to start something new but heard that voice saying, "You're not ready. Try another day. There are way better people doing this"? If you just nodded, then it's time to change that. First, identify the beliefs that are sabotaging you. Write them down. Seriously, put them on paper. I'm not good at this. I never finish anything. I'm not consistent. Now look at them for what they are. Thoughts, not truths. Ask yourself, would I say this to someone I care about? Then why do I say it to myself? Second, set small daily challenges for yourself. You don't need to run a marathon. Just go for a walk without your phone. Speak up in a meeting where you usually stay quiet. Start that course you keep putting off. Every day that you do something uncomfortable but necessary, you're rewiring your mind. And when you accomplish it, even if it's small, celebrate it. Really. It doesn't matter if no one sees it. You felt it. You did it. That alone is a victory. My friend, mindset is everything. If you believe you can't change, you won't. If you believe you're limited, you'll live limited. But if you understand that you can work on yourself, every day, little by little, without waiting for miracles, then things start to change. Not because the world gets kinder, but because you stop holding yourself back. And don't forget, you are the architect of your own walls, but you also hold the tools to tear them down. So tear them down, smash them. Work on yourself. 4. Stop looking for shortcuts. You've got your phone in your hand, again. Another video about how to make easy money from home. And you whisper to yourself, almost like you don't want anyone to hear, what if this one actually works? But hold on. Stop for a second and be honest with yourself. Do you really believe someone on the internet is going to hand you a magic formula that fixes your life? Do you think Marcus Aurelius, if he saw you right now with that "this one's the winner" face, wouldn't let out a stoic laugh before telling you to snap back to reality? My friend, this isn't judgment, it's a reminder. If you're looking for the easy way, you're moving away from real growth. We live in an age where everything has to be fast. Fast internet, fast food, fast success. We want results without effort, change without sacrifice, peace of mind without ever confronting our inner noise. You find yourself trying out yet another productivity method, another app, another system promising magical results. You go in hopeful, and of course at some point you burn out, because deep down you know that's not what you need. That's exactly what happened to Nathaniel Drew, the YouTuber who often talks about personal growth. He fell into that trap too. For years, obsessed with being more productive, he tried it all. Apps, hyper-detailed schedules, high-performance habits. And yeah, it looked like he was making progress. But inside, he felt drained, empty, because all that effort was directed outward, toward what people could see. And what really mattered, his peace, his clarity, his purpose, was still untouched. If you've been in the same place, let me tell you something that might sting a bit. Personal transformation doesn't come in the form of a crash course or a motivational video with epic music. It comes when you force yourself to work on you every single day, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's slow. And no, of course it's not all your fault. There's something called instant gratification, and your brain is wired to chase it. It's that urge to stop reading and check your phone, to quit the gym after 2 weeks, to jump from one idea to another without finishing any of them. Because hard things are exhausting, because the things that truly matter cost you something. But if you don't see that clearly, you'll spend your life starting things you never finish. So, if you're really ready to stop chasing shortcuts, I've got a challenge for you. Don't try to change everything at once. Just choose one thing, one skill, that one thing you know would make a real difference, and commit to it for 1 month. No distractions, no hopping from one idea to the next. Just that. Then, every week, create a small ritual. A space just for you to check in, to celebrate the tiny wins. Don't focus on the big results yet. Celebrate the things you used to avoid entirely. And yes, the moment will come. That day when you think, this is way too slow. And right then, that's when you'll take a deep breath and repeat something I want you to tattoo onto your mind. This is real, not fast. Because when you stop demanding speed, you allow depth to show up. And that's where true change begins. So next time you feel tempted to try the next miracle method, remember this. The real path isn't skipped, it's walked. And the more you try to dodge it, the further you drift from yourself. Marcus Aurelius said it loud and clear. Do your job. Not like a victim, not for pity or applause. Do it simply because it's your duty. Don't promise yourself fast results. Promise yourself that you won't give up. Because the one who stops looking for shortcuts and commits to working on themselves, that's the one who truly transforms. 5. No one's going to teach you if you don't do it yourself. Chances are you've complained before, maybe out loud, maybe just in your head. No one taught me how to deal with this. No one prepared me for this. And you're right, my friend. A lot of us were never taught how to handle anxiety, how to understand our emotions, how to trust ourselves or manage money. But now let me ask you an uncomfortable question. Have you gone out to find those answers? Or are you still waiting for someone to show up at your door and hand you a manual with your name on the cover? Of course not, because that day never comes. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll start growing. Because if you don't take control of your learning, chaos will. And you already know what happens when you live on autopilot. You make choices you don't understand, repeat mistakes, get frustrated with yourself, and you stay stuck. Seneca said it clearly with a line that, while simple, can change lives. As long as we live, let us learn how to live. He didn't say, wait for someone to teach you, or someday you'll just know by magic. He said, learn. That means you do it. Get involved. Go look for it. Because living well isn't instinctual. It's a skill. And it's one you can only develop if you choose to. Psychologist Lisa Feldman Barrett, author of How Emotions Are Made, explained something that blew my mind. Emotions aren't automatic. They're not natural reactions like so many people think. They're learned. And do you know what that means? If no one ever taught you how to understand them, you can still learn now. If you've always felt overwhelmed inside, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you just haven't gotten the information you need. Because no one's going to hand it to you unless you go looking. You're standing in front of your partner. They say something that bothers you. And instead of breathing, reflecting, or calmly responding, you explode. You raise your voice. Then you shut down with that tight knot in your chest you know all too well. You've lived through that reaction 1,000 times, but you've done nothing to change it. You haven't looked into how to calm yourself, haven't read a single thing about emotional regulation, haven't sat down for 5 minutes to understand yourself. You just keep repeating the pattern, as if someone else is going to come teach you how to be you. So what are you waiting for? Here's the thing. When you do decide to learn for yourself, even a small step, something shifts inside. You feel this quiet kind of power, like you stopped walking in the dark and finally turned on a flashlight. You can't see everything, but you see enough to take the next step. And that, believe me, changes everything. Are you willing to try it? If you're in that place where you feel lost or stuck, try this. First, build what I call your emergency library. It doesn't have to be a whole bookshelf. Just pick 5 go-to resources that help when everything feels like it's falling apart. Books, videos, interviews, podcasts. Things that inspire you, explain things to you, shake you awake, and keep them close. Not for when you're feeling motivated, but for when you're running on empty. Second, put a sticky note somewhere you'll see it every day, on your desk, your bathroom mirror, wherever. Let it say one simple thing. What did you learn today? It doesn't have to be a grand lesson. It could be something about yourself, someone else, or the world. What matters is that your brain starts to understand that learning is part of your day. Like eating, like breathing, like living. Because if you don't choose what enters your mind, someone else will. And they'll do it with what benefits them, not what helps you. We're surrounded by noise, by opinions, by quick-fix advice. But real knowledge, the kind that changes you, doesn't shout, it whispers. And if you don't seek it, no one will hand it to you. So get this clear, you are your own teacher. Don't wait for permission to grow. Give it to yourself. Teach yourself. Force yourself to work on you, because no one else will if you don't. And the moment you truly understand that, that's when your real transformation begins. 6. Where do you see yourself and how are you going to get there? Have you ever played that game where you have to put together a puzzle without seeing the picture on the box? You know there's a complete image, but you have no idea what you're building. You place one piece, then another, but nothing really fits. You get frustrated, start doubting, and eventually give up. That's how a lot of people live. And maybe that includes you, my friend. You wake up every day with a vague idea that you want something better, but you don't really know what that something is. It's like going grocery shopping without a list. On an empty stomach, you end up filling your cart with all the things you don't need. You close your eyes to imagine your ideal life, and all you see is a thick fog of "I'd like to, someday, I wish." But that's not visualization. That's just aimless dreaming. And without direction, there's no progress, only circles. Let me tell you something. Visualizing isn't sitting around imagining yourself in a mansion with an ocean view, while the universe magically works things out for you. No, not at all. Real visualization means getting your hands dirty with your own vision. It's looking closely at what you want and asking yourself, honestly, if you're acting like someone who's actually going to get there. The Stoics didn't use vision boards, but they had something far more powerful. Premeditatio malorum, the practice of imagining the obstacles, the setbacks, the mistakes, not to live in fear, but to be ready. Marcus Aurelius said it clearly. Think often of how swiftly all that exists and happens is swept away and forgotten by the passage of time. Because if you don't know what you want to build, time will take it from you, and it won't ask first. And this isn't just ancient philosophy. Psychologist Emily Balcetis, an expert in visual perception, found that people who visualize their goals clearly and specifically tend to stay more focused and motivated. But here's the key. That visualization has to include effort, not just the result. So, if you want to stop wandering aimlessly and really start transforming, here's something you can try starting today. Every morning before you even touch your phone, ask yourself, how would my best self act today? Picture that version of you in real-life situations, dealing with a difficult person, resisting temptation, making a tough decision. Just 5 minutes a day is enough to reset your mindset. Then spend another 5 minutes imagining the effort, not the reward. What does that workout feel like? That study session, that sacrifice? Your brain needs to rehearse the hard parts, not just the shiny outcome. And to close, make a list, but not of tasks. Make a list of decisions. Write down 3 decisions that version of you, the one you admire, would make today. Pick one and follow through. Not tomorrow, today. Because if you keep walking without direction, every path will seem fine, until you realize you've gotten nowhere. So now tell us in the comments, what's that one thing you do want to start visualizing more clearly from today on? How would that version of you, the one you respect most, act in your place? We're building a community of people who are done with dreaming and are ready to start building. We want to hear from you. 7. Opportunities don't just show up. Once upon a time, there was a hungry fox. He hadn't eaten in days, so he decided to sit right beside a rabbit hole. A rabbit will come out eventually, and with some luck, maybe it'll even be cooked, he thought. So he laid down, full of professional fox dignity, and waited. Hours passed, days, weeks. Sure, rabbits came out, but alive, and with very little interest in jumping into a stew. In the end, the fox died of hunger, but with his hope intact. Because, of course, he never lost faith that things would just work out. Now, you don't have to tell me that this isn't realistic. I know. No sane fox is waiting for roasted rabbit to fall from the sky. But you know what's funny? You do it. You sit around hoping opportunity will knock without moving a muscle. You expect someone to discover your talent without ever showing it. And in the meantime, life slips away, like the fox. Hopeful, yes, but empty-handed. Epictetus said it clearly. Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather wish that what happens happens the way it does. Then you will be happy. What was he telling us? To stop waiting for the perfect moment and start acting with what you've got. From where you are, however you can. Because if you keep waiting, all you're doing is perfecting your excuse. And speaking of taking action, let me give you an inspiring example. Noah Kagan was fired from Facebook before it exploded. He could have stayed home crying over the big chance he lost. But he didn't. He started from scratch. He forced himself to learn about business, to reinvent himself, to try things without any guarantee. And from that came AppSumo, his multi-million-dollar company. The opportunity didn't come to him. He built it. Through trial, through error. But he built it. Now let's leave Silicon Valley and come back to your life. Picture this. You complain about your job, you dream of something better, but you haven't even updated your resume. You're not learning anything new. You're not sending out a single email. You scroll through LinkedIn like it's Netflix, just browsing, no commitment. Do you really think someone's going to knock on your door and say, "Hi, we're here to offer you your dream job"? Yeah. No, that's not happening. Here's the key. If you really want opportunities to come your way, start acting like they're already on their way. Every day, do one thing, just one, that moves you closer to the opportunity you dream of. Even if there's no date, even if there's no certainty. Choose a book, a skill, a habit that prepares you for that future. Also, surround yourself with people who are already doing what you want to do. Not to compare yourself, but to sharpen your mindset. If you're the most ambitious person in your circle, you're already stuck. You need to catch the energy, the ideas, the drive from people who are moving forward, and shift that common mindset of, when the opportunity comes, I'll give it my all to something way more powerful. I'll be ready before it comes. Because when it shows up, you won't have time to prepare. You'll have to respond. And if you're not ready, you'll watch it pass you by, unable to jump on. The opportunity you're waiting for is not going to wait for you. And if you're not ready, it'll move on without you. That's why this isn't about getting pumped up one day and then forgetting it. It's about forcing yourself to work on you every single day, even when you don't see results, even when no one is clapping, because only then, when that key moment finally comes, you'll be ready to seize it. Not because you got lucky, but because you trained for it. 8. Train your mind like a warrior. My friend, I'm sure this has happened to you, though you might not want to admit it. You wake up, feel unmotivated, check your phone for 20 minutes, jump from one social media app to another, don't know where to start your day, and you're drowning in thoughts like, I'm not good at this and I wish I were stronger. I hate to break it to you, but your mind has turned into a jungle with no map. And no, it's not that you don't have strength, it's that you haven't trained it. Your mind isn't a garden that blooms just because you wish it would. It's a battlefield. And like Marcus Aurelius said, the art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. It's not always graceful, or smooth, or pretty. Sometimes it's grit, discipline, fight. Stephen Bartlett, author and creator of the Diary of a CEO podcast, is a perfect example of this. For years he felt insecure, afraid of rejection, tormented by an inner voice that sabotaged everything. Until one day, he decided to change that voice. He realized he couldn't succeed at anything if his mind was working against him. So he started training it, every single day, like a warrior. Today, he's one of the most influential entrepreneurs in the UK, not because he has a perfect mind, but because he stopped treating it like a victim and started using it like a weapon. And this isn't just self-help talk. In psychology, there's something called learned resilience. You're not born with it. It's a skill, a capacity that gets built, strengthened, and reinforced like a muscle. And that only happens when you decide to work on yourself daily, even when you don't feel like it, even when you don't see results right away, even when you're not sure you're doing it right. Picture a warrior. Do you think he only trains when there's a war? Of course not. He trains every day, even in times of peace, because he knows the battlefield can appear without warning. And your mind needs the same. It's not enough to wish for mental strength. You have to build it through routine, through discomfort, through resistance. So tell me, are you ready to train your mind the way it deserves? Because this is where the real work begins. First, do one uncomfortable thing every day. It doesn't have to be extreme. Maybe it's having that conversation you've been avoiding for weeks, or taking a cold shower for 30 seconds, or daring to say no when you usually say yes just to please people. What you do doesn't matter as much as the fact that you do it, that you take the wheel, even when the waters are rough. Second, train a key phrase, I get through this too. Say it out loud, write it down, repeat it when things get hard. Because repetition shapes identity, and if your identity starts to form around the belief that you can handle the tough stuff, then trust me, you will. Third, breathe before you react. Sounds simple, but it's powerful. Training your mind also means learning not to be a slave to your impulses. When you feel overwhelmed, when anxiety or anger is about to take over, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what would my stronger self, the one I'm building, do right now? Training your mind like a warrior doesn't mean you'll never fall. It means you'll know how to get up faster. That when the storm hits, you won't break, because you've already been through your own training. Remember, working on yourself every day isn't optional if what you want is real transformation. It's the only path. 9. If your goal has no soul, you won't get there. Look around you. How many people sign up for the gym in January? And how many are still going in February or April? Exactly. A lot of people do it out of pressure, for looks, or just to copy others. But very few stop to ask themselves, why do I want this? What will actually change inside me if I achieve it? My friend, a goal without soul is like a plant with no roots. You water it for a couple of days with excitement, but the moment a gust of wind hits, it falls. Not because it didn't have potential, but because it was never properly planted. Epictetus put it perfectly in a line that's as brutal as it is simple. First, say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. See the difference? It's not just about chasing achievements. It's about becoming someone, about having clear direction, a deeper why that moves you from within. And this isn't just theory. Let me share a story that captures exactly what I mean. There's a woman named Loida Zabala, born in a small town in Extremadura, Spain. At 11, an illness left her in a wheelchair. She could have given up, of course, but she didn't. One day, watching a powerlifting competition on TV, she felt something. Not admiration, not curiosity, something more like a calling. I want to do that, she thought. And do you know what she did? She trained, day after day, no excuses, no chasing sympathy, just one clear goal, to become a Paralympic athlete. But it wasn't a hollow goal. It wasn't, I want to lift weights. It was, I want to take back control of my life. I want to be strong. I want to inspire. Loida went on to compete in multiple Paralympic Games, and every time someone asks her how she did it, her answer is simple. She had a purpose bigger than herself. Every rep, every setback, every silent training session had soul. And that's why she made it so far. Do you see the difference? It's not just what you do, it's why you do it. So here's the truth, my friend. If your goal doesn't have soul, you're not going to make it. Because when the road gets tough, and it will, a pretty idea in your head won't be enough. You need a fire burning in your chest, something that reminds you why you started. Loita didn't have the easiest conditions, but she had clarity, commitment, and a purpose so strong she didn't need daily motivation. She just had to remember it. Now ask yourself, why do I want what I say I want? Does it move your soul or just your ego? And if you're not sure, try this powerful but simple exercise. Write your goal on a piece of paper, and just below it answer this question: why do I truly want this? Don't stop at the first answer. Ask yourself again, 3 times. Each answer gets you closer to the root, to the soul of your goal. Then close your eyes and imagine your life if you reached it. But don't focus on surface-level results. Think about what would really change. Your energy, the way you walk, the decisions you'd make, the way you treat others. Connect to that. And finally, lock this phrase into your mind. It's going to be your anchor. When doubts creep in, when everything feels heavy, say out loud the reason that brought you here. Say it like a mantra, because in moments of weakness, what keeps you grounded isn't the result, it's the purpose behind it. Goals without soul fade. Goals with purpose fight back. And if you force yourself to work on you every single day, to get to know yourself better, to clear away the noise, you'll transform your life faster than you think. 10. Start even if you don't feel like it. Have you ever dragged yourself to a workout with zero motivation and walked out feeling like a new person? Or had one of those days where you really didn't feel like cleaning, but then you looked around at your tidy home and thought, I'm so glad I did that. There it is. It wasn't about feeling like it. It was about starting. My friend, most of the time it's not about being inspired. It's about getting moving. Procrastination isn't always laziness. It's often just your brain protecting you from discomfort, fear of failure, insecurity, mental exhaustion. It's like your mind whispers, better not do that. It smells like effort. And if you listen, if you wait for the perfect moment, you'll stay stuck. You know why that happens? Psychologist Julie Smith explains it like this: motivation isn't some magic spark that falls from the sky. It's a consequence. It comes after you take the first step, not before. Marcus Aurelius said it loud and clear ages ago. Don't waste time debating what a good person should be. Be one, no fluff. And the same goes for anything that matters. Stop wasting time wondering if you should do it. Just do it. Start. Even if you're tired, annoyed, or uninspired, the momentum comes after. And I say this from experience. I have a family member who's had a broken front door for 6 months. Yes, 6. It's not that he can't fix it. It's not that he doesn't have time. It's just that every time he thinks about it, the idea feels massive. So he went for the easier option. He climbs in through the window. Literally. He's been living like that, waiting for the day motivation will magically show up. But of course it never does. And here's the truth. If you're waiting to feel like changing your life, you might end up entering everything. Your job, your relationships, your health, through the window. Awkward, forced, out of place. All because you didn't make yourself act. Because you're letting your mood call the shots. Want to break that cycle? Then start here. First, use the 2-minute rule. When you don't feel like doing something, say, I'll just do it for 2 minutes, and start. Movement kills inertia. The hardest part isn't doing the thing, it's starting it. Next, rewire your self-talk. When you catch yourself thinking, I don't feel like it, switch it to, I don't need to feel like it, I just need to start. That sentence is powerful. Say it every time your mind tries to stop you. And to keep yourself going, use a visible tracker. A whiteboard, a sticky note on the fridge, anything. But every day you complete your small action. Mark it. That growing streak becomes a kind of fuel. When you see progress, you want to keep going. Stop waiting to feel inspired. Be inspired by the fact that you're moving. Every time you take action, even a tiny step, you're training the bravest part of you. You're proving that your life isn't ruled by your feelings, it's ruled by your decision. So if you woke up today feeling drained, if this feels like one of those gray days, it's okay. Do it anyway. Start even if you don't feel like it. Because that, exactly that, is what will transform you. And don't forget this, no one becomes strong by waiting. You become strong by starting. 11. Your schedule should work for you. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The clock keeps ticking while you rush around the house, coffee in one hand, phone in the other, and a storm of thoughts spinning in your head. You're late for work, but really, you were already running late for breakfast, the workout you skipped, and the rest you never gave yourself. And the worst part isn't the chaos, my friend. It's that you don't even know what you're rushing toward. Who's running your schedule? You. Or the chaos? People often say they don't have time, that they wish the day had 30 hours. But here's the truth. The problem isn't lack of time. It's how badly we use it. Sure, you're busy, I won't argue that. But busy with what? That's exactly what Seneca said. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. And he said this over 2,000 years ago, long before Instagram, Netflix, and emails that multiply like gremlins. If he could already see people wasting their lives back then, imagine what he'd say now if he saw you trapped between notifications, endless series, and tasks you do just because. But really ask yourself, how many of those things are actually getting you closer to the life you want? Content creator Matt D'Avella has an approach that helped me a lot. Design your day like you're a business. A business with no structure? It doesn't work. Neither do you. He talks about time blocking, scheduling real breaks, and most importantly, choosing your priorities with intention. Because the alternative is letting the day sweep you away, then lying in bed at night wondering why you feel like you didn't get anywhere. And if you need hard numbers, here's one. A study from Ohio University found that people who write down just 3 priorities each morning increase their productivity and overall well-being by up to 40%. Just 3 things. Not an endless to-do list. Not 15 half-finished tasks. 3. Clear. Specific. Now I know what you're thinking. That you can't. That your life is chaos. That there's too much out of your control. But what if you stopped trying to control everything and started with just one thing? Your time. It's not easy, of course not. But I promise you, if you don't do it, no one else will do it for you. I used to feel trapped too, until I tried something different. Every morning before I check my phone, I write down 3 things I want to accomplish that day. No more. Just 3. If I finish them, great. If I don't, at least I know where to begin tomorrow. Then I use a technique I call uncomfortable first. I tackle the hardest task of the day first, the one I least want to do. And once it's done, everything else feels lighter. And this part is crucial. Schedule your breaks. Yes, like an important meeting, because they are. Rest isn't a reward you give yourself for being good. It's part of the system. If you don't recharge, you shut down. So start today. Don't wait for the perfect day. Just make small adjustments. And if you mess up one day, adjust the next. What matters isn't perfection, it's consistency. Your schedule should work for you, not against you. Time isn't about how much you have, it's about how you use it. And if you make it a habit to give your time direction, you won't just reclaim your hours, you'll reclaim your life. Remember this, you're not just watching the clock. You get to decide what you do with every minute. So design your day with the same intention you use to dream about your future. Because if you don't manage your time will manage you. My friend, if you've made it this far, it's because you're doing the work. Because you're done living on autopilot. You're ready to transform. But stick with me, because what comes next is the most revealing part yet. The key that can make the difference between falling back into your old ways or changing everything. 12. What you repeat is who you are. You tell yourself that this Monday is the one, that you're starting fresh, that this time you're taking your project, your mental peace, your New Year's goals seriously. And then Friday comes, and there you are again, eating your anxiety with a side of fries, telling yourself, I'll start on Monday. But my friend, the problem isn't that you fail. We all do. The real problem is that you don't sustain anything. Your life has become a list of fresh starts that never become habits. And without repetition, there's no transformation. Have you ever stopped to think about what you're repeating every day without even noticing? Because here's the strange part. Even when you think you're doing nothing, you're still repeating things. Maybe you repeat phrases like, I can't, I'll start tomorrow. This isn't for me. Maybe you repeat the same excuse, the same distraction, the same way of giving up. And that, little by little, is shaping you more than any dream you have. Marcus Aurelius understood this. He didn't sit down to write in his journal every day for show. He did it because he knew something most of us forget. What you repeat, you reinforce. Every single day, without fail, he reviewed his principles, reminded himself of what he wanted to nurture and what he wanted to cut out at the root. And because of that repetition, he didn't just become emperor of Rome, he became emperor of himself. What you do every day is no small thing. It's your identity under construction. You're not what you dream of or what you plan to do one day. You are what you do each morning when the alarm goes off. And with that in mind, let me share something Mel Robbins once said. In an interview, she explained that her life didn't change because she made some epic decision or took an expensive course. It changed when she stopped hitting the snooze button. That moment, she said, was the first time I decided to be the kind of person who follows through on what they say. And from that moment, everything started to build. So if you also want to change but don't know where to start, try this. First, choose one habit you want to lock in, not 10. Don't try to change your whole life overnight. Just one. Getting up with the first alarm. Walking for 10 minutes. Writing down one idea each morning. Something small but consistent. Then use the phrase, I'm someone who, followed by the habit you chose. This isn't silly. You're telling your brain, this is part of my identity now. For example, I'm someone who gets up when the alarm rings. It's not just something you do, it's something you are. And finally, track your habit streak each week. Doesn't matter if it's on an app or a paper on your fridge. What matters is that you see the chain grow, that you visualize your consistency. Because once you've done it 3, 5, 10 days in a row, you won't want to break that chain. It becomes a kind of game with yourself, and that reinforces your commitment more than any motivational speech. My friend, you don't need to stage a revolution. You don't need to change everything in a day. But you do need to repeat the right things, day after day, even in silence, even when no one's watching, because that, and only that, is what truly transforms you. Now tell us in the comments, what's that small habit you're going to repeat until it defines you? What's that daily action that's going to become your engine? We're reading the community. This isn't about magical motivation or waiting for everything to change overnight. This is about you, about the choices you make every single day, about getting up even when you don't feel like it, about pushing forward even when you can't see the results yet. Because real change begins the moment you stop making excuses and start holding yourself accountable. When you stop waiting and start acting. My friend, no one is coming to transform you. That's your responsibility and your power. If you've made it this far, tell us in the comments, what commitment are you making to yourself starting today? What part of you are you going to build, with discipline and without excuses? That way, I'll know who the true Stoic warriors are who made it to the end. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give this video a like so you don't miss out on what's coming next. I also invite you to check out our playlist, which you'll see on the screen. It's packed with ideas, stories, and advice to help you navigate life with more wisdom and confidence. Click it, and let's keep moving forward together. Until next time, take care and keep embracing your inner Stoic.